is up, folks? Good morning. Welcome to the show. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. And this was American Airlines Flight 204 arriving from Philadelphia. This is the current weather situation. It is overcast. It is actually a bit hazy, if you ask me. Looking to the west, looking to the south. We did have a few moments where the sun was shining, but the moment has passed. This is looking to the east, back to the north. It is said that we are going to get some sunshine here and there later in the day. Seeing is believing. It doesn't look like it yet. At the moment, runway 27 is also being used for arrivals. That is temporarily, I'm expecting, because there was some debris that they had to get off the runway. So I'm thinking later in the day we'll probably see parallel arrivals or arrivals on Polderbaan. The wind is blowing from the south mostly. The meter says 9 knots. I believe it is more than that in the meantime. Now there will be a new meter out in a few minutes. Already passing, heading back to the station are the firefighters. They already did their round just now. Definitely more ripples in the water right now. And so far as you can see, the chimneys in the distance, you can see there's definitely a bit more wind today than there was yesterday. I'm not completely alone. I think that is the same, or at least it looks like the same bird we saw yesterday catching a mouse. The kestrel. Our next airplane, Delta Airlines Flight 136, arriving from Detroit, Michigan, Airbus A320, flight time 6 hours 45 minutes as we speak, 7 years old. Its first flight in June 2016. And good morning everybody who is already tuned in. Hope you are all doing well. Looking on flight radar, it seems that all inbound traffic is already coming to the Polderbaan, so might be that 27 is already closed. Only checked before going live just now. The Zook boss was mentioning it, debris or foreign objects or something like that on the runway. So until 9:30 I believe they expected that 27, or at least that center was not going to be able to be used. Is that the same bird? It's no longer on the street light, so I think the kestrel might be out hunting again. Hunting for Pinky and the Brain. They're trying to take over the world. The kestrel is trying to take over Pinky and the Brain. Our next airplane is a CRJ from SAS Flight 2551, arriving from Copenhagen. Flight time no longer mentioned, but Copenhagen Amsterdam typically is an hour. The airplane is 7 years old. Its first flight was in March 2016. First bloodshot of the day is upon us. A lot of people already in the chat. Good morning to you all. Ricardo, JD, Maria, Koen, Valentijn, Matthias, Lane, Wilma, Jake MC, Herr Wolf, Servus, let's see who else is in the chat. Nico, Ronald, Erwin, Han, goedemorgen kerel. Bart, goedemorgen. Edward, Martino, Nico, The Gaming Train, Daniel, Aviation Weekly, Jurk, Nick, Anne, Arja. So many people already in the chat. Nick spielt zo, Morgan. Maxine, goedemorgen. Oh, now it goes back to the beginning, or did it? Shit, where was I? Lost where I was. Let's see, can I get that back? Think, here I was. Andre, Cube, Peter, Leo, Patrick. Right, 78710 Dreamliner arriving from San Francisco, KLM flight 606. And crossing traffic from the right. It is the KLM 100 years special livery with a lot of birds. Would you like a side dish of birds with that? No, thank you. You'll get them anyway, they're on the house. Leo, Thomas, Rob, Hans, Evelien, let's see. I think I'm now at the end of the chat, or am I? Yeah, I think I am back at the end. Think I'm caught up actually. Kaylin, good morning. And all other viewers, good morning. Nico asks if I ever filmed the bird strike. I haven't. Knocking on wood, then it's going to stay that way. Don't want any birds to get hurt. Although, I think if you have to die, probably getting chopped up in an instant in an engine is probably one of the better ways. Well, enough happy talk. Gerard, goedemorgen. I hope the audio is good again. Yesterday, listening back to the stream, I was very satisfied with the way the audio sounded, both the voiceover and the ambient. Hope the same is happening again today. I did not change any settings, so it should be similar to yesterday, but if it isn't, do let me know. Particularly if the voiceover goes tinny, let me know in the chat. Quick restart of the DJI mic quickly often resolves it. Vueling A321 arriving from Barcelona, flight 8300. Maria says prima geluid. Happy to hear that. Do let me know if it does go south. B744 pilot. Goedemorgen. Aaron also confirming sound perfect. Jackie, goedemorgen. Okay. Now, seems I will have to update the ticker shortly. 27 still being mentioned as a runway for arrivals, but I haven't seen any arrivals to 27 on flight radar over the last, well, since I've been live actually. You can definitely see this is a bit more than just 9-knot wind. I'm curious to see what the updated METAR says in terms of the wind speed. Maybe after the airplane after this one. Looks like there might be a gap. Embraer 190 arriving from JD's hometown, Düsseldorf. Easy, easy. Hey Nelly, goedemorgen. YouTube fan, goedemorgen. Welcome one and all. Hope you guys are having a terrific weekend. Hope the stream can help make the weekend even more terrific. This is KLM flight 618 arriving from Boston. 7879 Dreamliner, the mid-size version. And again, flight time no longer mentioned, but I think probably 6.5 hours or so. 7 years old in total. First flight of this airplane was in June 2016. Looking at the METAR, it was still dark when I had to schedule the stream. And looking at the METAR, I thought, well, maybe we can see some sunshine, have some blue skies. So I thought that the thumbnail I used for the stream would be fitting. Well, guess again. What a mistake to make, huh? However, the plan is still very much valid. It says sticking around until the Suparna, that is expected around 1:30, and that is still the plan. Right, let's have a look at the METAR, shall we? So let's do a refresh and we can see, okay, IFR conditions, okay, let's see. So the wind is 10 knots from 230 degrees. As you guys can also see over here, we have few clouds at 600 feet, broken clouds at 700 feet. The temperature is 8 degrees. No significant changes in the weather expected. Okay, well, runway usage, let's refresh and see. Right, Polderbaan now being the only runway in use, and 18 left has also been opened for departures. The first quad that we are expecting is the SLM A340 from Paramaribo, which is expected in 50 minutes from now. We have a standard livery A380 arriving just past 12:30, not far behind it, and expected to arrive just past 1 o'clock is a China Airlines cargo 747 This airplane is going to be the last airplane of the day. The Suparna Airlines expected around 1:07 p.m. and this 747 is expected around 3 p.m. So this is going to be the last airplane of the day. And well, there are more 747s on the way, but these are all expected 5 p.m. 4:40. So that's all later in the day. 15 minutes from now, the first quad, the A340 from Surinam Airways, is going to land. In the meantime, let me also quickly paste the METAR into the ticker that I just copied and also adjust runway usage so that it is current. Departures 24 and add to that 18 left, and arrivals taking place just on 18 right. There we go. Right, back to the action then. Let's have a look. Another AMS Live logo coming up. Air Europa, arriving from Madrid, flight 1091, 7879 Dreamliner. Madrid, typically approximately 2 hours of flying. This airplane is 4 years old. First flight was in May 2019. Good morning to Jinshin, to Guy, Mrs. Professor, Timon, Dutch Flight Simmer. Welcome one and all. Mrs. Professor asks, or at least, yeah, asks, is it foggy? Well, it does look like it, although visibility is still 10 kilometers or more. It does look, it definitely looks a bit more hazy than it was yesterday. Dutch Flight Simmer asks if I live nearby Amsterdam. Well, if I wasn't, then I would have been crazy to come to Schiphol so often if my travel time was very extensive. So the answer is of course yes. Well, Lane hopes for a new record in terms of wheelies. I'm not sure if we're going to see any new records today. I think yesterday, the one from yesterday was actually, might have been a new record. Definitely longer than the one I filmed before from Captain Wheelie. Right, let's see. Our next airplane is approaching, but it, due to the cloudiness, is a bit hard to see already. It is approaching the glide slope and is a 777-200 from KLM. Flight 880, arriving from Bangalore. It's been flying now for 9 hours and 45 minutes. 777-200 ER, 20 years old. First flight December 2003. Here and there it does look like the clouds are a bit thinner. And if you look at the weather forecast for today, it even said that some sunshine would be seen. It would be somewhat sunny. Well, not seeing it. This is more or less the direction of where the wind is coming from, at least on ground level. Not sure if that's also where the wind is coming from, where the clouds are getting blown from. If that is the case, that is where we need to look to see the upcoming weather. Initially, we did see a little bit of open sky in the distance. I even saw the sun this morning after it had risen shortly for a brief moment of time in time. So it does look like on the higher levels in the atmosphere, the wind is also blowing more or less from west to east, which means that we have to look in the other direction to see the upcoming weather. Now, that 777 on flight radar at least looks quite close by. I think I just about see it emerge from the clouds. KLM flight 880 arriving from Bangalore. Now a flight time of 9 hours and 47 minutes. A 777-200 ER, 20 years old. First flight December 2003. And happy Saturday to you too, Otto, Georgios, good morning. Mr. Norris, good morning. Hey, goedemorgen kerel. Art, good morning. Will I be there at the Schiphol's Christmas event? I don't know what you're talking about, mate. Sounds like there's a party coming up or something. Schiphol Christmas event. Let's see. Typically after their round they also test their equipment. I'm not sure if they already did that or if they are going to reverse back into the fire station. Right, traffic is looking to pick up a little bit in the sense that we don't have to wait that long anymore for the next traffic to come this way. In fact, our next airplane from Lufthansa has just cleared the clouds. Flight 988 arriving from Frankfurt, Embraer 190, 13 years old, first flight July 2010. Let's see. EasyJet A320 behind it and a KLM Dreamliner as number 3. The Dreamliner arriving from Buenos Aires. I think that's Buenos Aires. Easy. German butt shot coming in. Here we go. Oh. An agricultural machine that we also saw yesterday is again on the cycling path. Get out of the way with your itty bitty little bicycle. Coming through. VIP coming through. If the guy ducked, he could have driven over him. Nice, nice. EasyJet flight 22511 A320 arriving from London Luton. Now touching down. This airplane, 5 years old, first flight August 2018. Still waiting for the return of Jesus, the GEZUS, also an airplane from EasyJet. The coming of Jesus, but we have to be patient a bit longer. It's been a while since I last saw that airplane. KLM flight 702 up next, arriving from Buenos Aires. Definitely one of the furthest destinations that you can fly from Amsterdam to directly. This airplane is now airborne for 13 hours and 8 minutes. 7879 Dreamliner, 6 years old. First flight of this airplane, August 2017. Good morning, Joe Schmo. Tuning in from San Diego. Up early or still up late. Per, good morning. Patrick, goedemorgen. Rajesh, good morning. And good morning, Sarah, who noticed just now that another person gifted her a membership. Good morning, Sarah, and congratulations on your 1 month anniversary. Robert, good morning. Ingo and Steffi, morgen. And Kayleigh celebrates 2 months of membership. Good morning from the UK, she writes. Good morning to you too. Hope all is well. Hope everybody is having a great weekend thus far. Now, 2 ladies doing some jogging in the morning. Very good, very healthy. A good example for many. Air Serbia is coming next, arriving from Belgrade, A320. Flight time no longer mentioned. Stupid flight radar glitch. Have to be really early with pressing on the label, otherwise the flight time is no longer mentioned. The Airbus age is still visible though. 16 years, first flight April 2007. Another A320 behind it. I'm already clicking on that label. Hopefully that allows me to see the flight time from Vueling. But this is Air Serbia. butt shot coming in. Meanwhile, Paul is celebrating 7 months of membership already. Thank you so much for your continued support there. And congratulations, Paul. Hope that you will stay a valued member for many more months to come. Thank you so much for your continued support there. And also John, celebrating a month of membership. Loving the streams, boy, he writes. Thank you so much for that. Always a pleasure to have you on the stream, on board, in the chat. I hope that you will continue to do that for many more months to come. Thank you so much both for your support. This is Vueling flight 8365, arriving from Malaga. Or I should say having arrived from Malaga. Took it 2 hours and 54 minutes to get from there to here. 7 years old, first flight February 2016. Now, quickly turning back, flying AMS Live logo coming up. Is it a real AMS logo or is it counterfeit? No, again, the angle, the curvature of the wing, insufficient, it's not real. KLM flight 741, 787-10 Dreamliner arriving from Cartagena. Flight time 8 hours 42 minutes as we speak. A brand new Dreamliner. That means it began flying less than a year ago, and in this case it was in May this year that this airplane started flying, so still under factory warranty presumably. Sahil, good morning. Tuning all the way in from Pakistan. Isaac, good morning. Stefan, goedemorgen. Emra-makers, goedemorgen. Emra-maker says PHGOV is inbound from the east. Will it land on Polderbaan? It's our government plane, for those of you who don't know. Would be interesting. Oh, the Gulf is going to 22. Okay, bummer. That is a bummer. We have seen it a couple of times, I think twice in total. Landing and taking off, or both times landing in the past year on Polderbaan. It does happen occasionally, but they do often, more often than not, go to runway 22, the short Schiphol Oostbaan. A319 from EasyJet arriving from Birmingham. And it's going to be followed by a 777 from Emirates Sky Cargo arriving from Aguadilla. Surely this cannot be a 9-knot wind. I'm not sure I believe the METAR. To me it feels like more substantial wind. EasyJet butt shot coming in. Bird controller standing guard. And Emirates Sky Cargo 777 getting closer by. In the meantime, let me quickly go back to the computer and say a big thank you to JD, who just now gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much for that, JD. totally uncalled for, but thank you nonetheless. If you just got gifted a membership by JD, don't forget to say Dankeschön. Thank you so much, JD. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those 5 new members. Don't forget to use your custom emojis. This is one of the examples where you can use it, although we have the updated ribbon tail. This of course still the old standard livery. K4 in the Ford Ranger Raptor. Alright, another appetizer, narrow body appetizer in between a heavy. Delta Airlines Flight 36, one of their Airbus A330s, the number 2. Has the potential to get loud, and I'm hoping it will get loud. First up, this EasyJet A320. Speedbird, British Airways, sorry. Arriving from London Gatwick, flight 2540. 21 years old, first flight October 2002. Now, also a big thank you to Art, who just now gifted the membership. I see that Audrey was the recipient of the gifted membership. Art, thank you so much for your gifted membership. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, Audrey. And JD is going to step out for now. We'll be back around noon, he assumes. Looking forward to seeing you return, mate. Enjoy the rest of your morning, and thank you once again for the gifted memberships just now. Above and beyond. Not too bad, not too bad. Hope you guys can still hear me and that your speakers haven't blown. Hey there, Mabuba, good morning. Good to see you again. Hope all is well. Ha, Valentijn, yo yo. Hoe is het, jongen? Right, standing guard, the bird controller. did see a few flocks of birds cross the runway or just over the runway at the same time an airplane was arriving, so hopefully the bird controller being there can prevent that from happening. I'm not sure I trust the meter today. It does look like visibility is still somewhat decent on ground level, but I'm not sure that the wind is just 9 knots. I mean, look at the lights, you can see it looks a bit hazy. SAS arriving from Oslo. Star Alliance livery. Noise. KLM style landing, keep up the speed, vacate late, sooner to the gate. Most of you will probably know that airplanes landing on this runway have a significant taxi still ahead of them, which is also the reason why there's a dedicated ATC tower over here, particularly for inbound and outbound traffic to and from Polderbaan. The main platform area lies somewhere in the distance over there, and can we even, oh yeah, we can barely make out the original ATC control tower. The gates, the terminal building are all adjacent to that tower. And zooming out fully, you can see it is a substantial distance away. Airplanes landing here still have 10-15 minutes of taxi ahead of them typically. So if you can save some time by keeping up the speed, rolling out, vacating late, it's always a good thing. You see KLM pilots do that a lot. And speaking of KLM, this one coming in from Paris, Charles de Gaulle. Also here Russell and Cheryl, Russell and the bros, not flying tightly together, but they are actually present over here. Now, we're waiting for KLM flight 592, 777-300ER arriving from Johannesburg. There it is, we're seeing the light. Arriving from Johannesburg, flight time of 10 hours and 30 minutes as we speak. The airplane itself 14 years old, first flight May 2009. Feels like teeny tiny droplets are in the air. do see minute droplets on my screen over here. Definitely high humidity weather. Right, well, hopefully visibility is going to get a little better. While we're waiting, might also have another look at the weather. Let's do a refresh. Okay, not much has changed in that respect. We'll copy it into the ticker. Runway usage presumably still unchanged. What I am curious about is what does the satellite, insofar as we can see anything, show us. Okay, well, that does not look like sunshine anytime soon. Looks like the east of the country has a little bit of sunshine, and we'll have to wait until this has passed, so that might take until the afternoon. I'm not expecting much improvement. In the meantime, the SLM A340 is getting closer. It's now over the North Sea in between the UK and the Netherlands, so that is at least on its way. The next airplane just clearing the clouds over here. That should be a Tarom A318 baby bus arriving from Bucharest with a flight time of 2 hours and 34 minutes. (16 years old, first flight November 2007. And good morning Bina, good morning Ronald, good morning Florian, good morning Wolfgang, Morgan, tuning in from Germany, Infinity, goedemorgen kerel. Now we have some of the Crow gang members over there. The water itself does not seem to contain any birds. Also looking to the south, basically the same picture. It seems that they are south of the bridge. There are a few birds over there. Also several in the air. Coming this way. There were also a few further to the north. And this is supposed to be a 9-knot wind. I'm not buying it personally. Or what was it that the meter said? There There was an update. I think I copied it, but I forgot to paste it in the ticker. Let's do that right away. 10 knot wind. Croatia Airlines arriving from Zagreb. No, what? It flies under the moniker of Croatia Airlines, but it says Trade Air, and it also looks like a Trade Air livery, which is something we don't see very often here. So yep, Trade Air, flying for Croatia. But a livery we normally don't see here. While we're at it, let's also film its butt. Posing for it. There we go. Nice little butt shot. Alright, EasyJet A319 arriving from Gatwick up next. Flight 28673. Austrian registered, 14 years old, first flight March 2009. Well, let's see. Looks like we have to wait a little bit for the next airplane to come this way. The next airplane is going to be an EasyJet A320 Neo arriving from Manchester. That has now turned base and is still a bit further out. Also see that there is a 777 arriving from Qatar, now flying towards Purmerend. And Mrs. Professor more or less confirming what I am feeling over here. She writes that her weather app says that 10-mile-per-hour winds with gusts of 20 miles per hour are now taking place at Schiphol. The METAR doesn't mention anything about gusts, but it definitely feels like it is a bit more windy than just a simple 10-knot wind. Daniel asks how I'm doing. I'm doing fine, mate. Bit chilly over here with the wind. Just switched on the heated glove. We can pick up the sound of an airplane that has just taken off, although we cannot see it. That's a bit of a bummer. Visibility is definitely a little bit bad. Definitely worse than I had hoped. Now, interesting. I think the Qatar triple is going to be the first airplane to land on center. It's already lower than the EasyJet A320. I think it might actually... Oh, now it all of a sudden skipped. Interesting. Don't know about you, but over here on Flight Radar my Qatar triple is doing weird things. It all of a sudden skipped the glide slopes and is now supposedly flying further to the west. That's some weird stuff going on. Yesterday also 2 triples from Qatar that we didn't even see on Flight Radar. So there's definitely something going on there. Folks, if you just tuned in and you're thinking, what the F is going on here? We're waiting for traffic. The first airplane to arrive is going to become visible shortly. EasyJet A320 Neo arriving from Manchester is on the glide slope. Short 44-minute flight. 1-year-old, first flight December 2022. So celebrating its first birthday today. Qatar triple. If it is a real airplane, it seemed that it passed the glide slope on a low level. Now flying over Beverwijk. At least that's what it shows on my Flight Radar. And there we have the A320 Neo. No, this is a triple. Is that the Qatar? I think it is. The 777-300 Qatar arriving from Doha. The fudge is going on here today. So it turned out that the 777-300 did actually take a left-hand turn to go to the glide slope, and we're actually getting a butt shot from it to boot. James getting the playtime emoji in early. Expected in 24 minutes from now. That is good news. In the meantime, I see 4 airplanes on the glide slope on Flight Radar. The next airplane to arrive then should be the A320 Neo from EasyJet arriving from Manchester. Just about becoming visible. In its wake is a KLM B744 arriving from London City, Air Malta A320 behind it, then a Dreamliner, A330, Aero Mexico behind the A330, so 3 narrow bodies including this one, and then 2 heavies. we should also be near the coast by now. Haven't zoomed out on flight radar yet, but the Surinam Airways Airbus A340 is probably also relatively close by. It's a pity about the low visibility, or at least the low cloud level, I should say. Right, up next, KLM flight 986 arriving from London City, Embraer 190. 14 years old, first flight January 2009. Yo, what is up, Evan? Good to see you again, mate. Now, got the impression that the wind is actually picking up a little bit. If the vibrations get too heavy, I might have to enable image stabilizer. Thus far, I've been doing without it enabled. It's still manageable, but it does get a little bit more bumpy now and then. Will we be hearing some fireworks in a moment? That is the question. If it is going to set off fireworks, we'll hear it in a moment. And hey there, John, who is tuning in from Melbourne. One of several Johns now watching. Johns, Peters, and I think we also have a few Ronalds even. Also abundantly present. Beautiful, beautiful airplane, lovely livery. Very colorful, lots of details, it's beautiful. Right, now KLM flight 777, which of course is not a 777 but an Airbus A330-200, arriving from piece of shit, no, port of Spain, and not yet visible but soon will be, unless of course a Qatar triple comes in between. But this does look more like an A330 than a triple so far. 18 years old, this one. First flight July 2005. Two heavies behind this. Air Mexico flight 25 arrived from Mexico City. The Dreamliner, the daily flight, early today. Unless it is yesterday's flight, then it is royally late. Now I believe yesterday we actually got some reversal action from a KLM Airbus, but I think the budget is spent. And at least on this airplane we'll have to do without. Now it's double Dreamliner time. Aero Mexico flight 25, the 7878 arriving from Mexico City will be first. It's going to be followed by a KLM 787-10. Oh, triple Dreamliner time. Mexico first. Then we'll get the big ass KLM 78710 arriving from Panama City. And then another 7878 from TUI, returning from Willemstad, Curaçao. Dreamliner is 9 years old. Pilot sure knows where to find the reverse thrust lever. More Dreamliners coming up. Next up, KLM flight 758 arriving from Panama City, 78710 Dreamliner, the biggest of the bunch. Flight time no longer mentioned. 4 years old, first flight November 2019. Oh, Mrs. Professor's speakers did not like that one. Was that a bit too loud? Hopefully the neighbors will not complain. Now, don't expect any reverser action from the KLM pilot. Reversers are a redundant feature on KLM airplanes. Next up, TUI flight 370 arriving from Willemstad, Curaçao. Flight time is still available here, 8 hours and 1 minute according to Flight Radar as we speak. The airplane is 8 years old. Its first flight was in March 2015. Good morning to Geekaboo and goedemorgen to Rien and all other viewers who have joined in the meantime. Good morning to you too. You're watching More Windy Than the Meter is saying arrivals on Polderbaan, on Polderbaan at Schiphol Airport. If I recall correctly, between 12:30 and 1 we are going to see the Emirates A380 and two 747s, and if all is well, not too far away, yeah, number 2 right now, actually relatively close by, is our first next quad. I think the first quad of the show, if I'm... No, we did not see any queens yet, have we? We haven't seen them. No, I think this is the first quad of the show. The now number 2, Surinam Airways, Airbus A340 arriving from Paramaribo. First up, another narrow-body appetizer in the form of KLM Flight 1228 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Flight time no longer mentioned, but that's typically 40 to 45 minutes. It's a 737-800. It is 23 years old. Began flying in the year 2000 in June, and let me already click on the label of Suriname so that at least I can see the flight time in time. So the game plan is to stick around until the second of the two 747s This must be a new hire flying, not born and bred within the ranks of KLM. I actually heard a reverser being used there. So the plan is to stick around until the two 747s following the A380 have landed. So that should be around 1 p.m. approximately. We're now waiting for the Surinam Airways A340. And in the meantime, good morning to Mitchell Norris. More Norrises in the chat. And congratulations, Mitchell celebrates 2 months of membership and writes happy 2 months membership and 3 months of marriage. So double congratulations. Thank you so much for your continued support, Mitchell. Good to see you again. Hope all is well. Our next airplane, which is not yet visible but soon will be, I think there it is the now number 8 worldwide most tracked. It's quiet on flight radar. This is tracked by 164 people, presumably all watching AMS live right now. SLM flight 994 arriving from Paramaribo. It's an Airbus A340-300 I should say. Flown 8 hours and 49 minutes to get here. APUs with reversers, now I've seen it all. And actually produced a bit of sound as well. This airplane, by the way, is 15 years old, began flying in April of 2008, means that it is a few months younger than the Orange Pride and Chucky, for instance. That all began flying in January of the same year. Next up is going to be an airplane of a different order of magnitude and volume level. An E2 Embraer 195 from KLM, returning from Geneva, flight 1926. Bit younger, 2 years old, first flight October 2021. I think after this one has landed, I am going to enable the image stabilizer. It's getting a bit bumpy, and that is the wind. We are going to get a butt shot from the E2. I think, yeah, whoa, you can still reasonably see through the engines. I was wondering if we could, but we still can. high bypass geared turbofan engines, same, well, not exactly the same, but related to the engines that are also on the Airbus A320. Right, into the camera menu, to the settings, digital, no, image stabilizer. Let's switch that on. Hopefully that mitigates the vibrations a little bit. It's not going to fully negate it, but should make things a bit more stable. Up next, Turkish Airbus A330-300 in the, is that a sticker? I think it is the 300th aircraft sticker. It's flight 1951 arriving from Istanbul. Flight time no longer mentioned, but on average Istanbul-Amsterdam is 3 hours. Congratulations, Turkish, for having had 300 aircraft. You're doing better than I am. I don't even have one aircraft. Well, maybe a model somewhere. Now, let's see. Next up should be a 737-800 from KLM arriving from London Heathrow, one of the many flights between the two destinations. Flight 1002. Cloudiness is definitely ruining all those potentially beautiful glide slope shots. Had to announce the stream when it was still dark before going out. Looking at the meter, I figured the thumbnail I have used would be an appropriate one. Well, definitely not today. For a moment it looked like Sally the Seagull was doing a little sprint race, but gave up quickly. Also, if you want to see a very nice sprint race between an Embraer and a truck, do look back the stream of last Thursday. I did highlight that moment where it looked like they were doing a race, taxiing Embraer 190 versus a Scania truck. K4 patrolling. Is that Sally? I think it is. Sally or Stephanie, don't know either of the two. A320neo SAS arriving from Stockholm. Good morning, Madeira Aviation spotting. En goedemorgen Theo. Wim Smith. checking in from Benidorm. Presumably a bit warmer and a bit more sunny over there than it is over here. Now we can see that parallel arrivals take place. Center has opened. Looks like ITA is going there, arriving from Milan. Not sure if we can see it. So looking a bit more to the right to see if I can see something, but I am not seeing anything just yet. We have a Lufthansa arriving from Munich. German butt shot coming in. Here we go. In 3, 2, come on. 1. You can nicely see the reflection of the lights and the stripe, the taxi stripe, in the livery. Hey Marissa, goedemorgen. Long time no see. Hope all is well. Now, ITA should be flying somewhere over there. I'm not seeing her. Big picture, this is what it looks like. It's definitely a bit hazy. I think it is just ever so slight drizzle. Nothing substantial. Right, this is the last airplane before it is playtime. Number 175. Easily recognizable. Look at the winglets. You can see outward pointing, relatively large. Of course, looking from the side, you can see that the fuselage is relatively short. Ooh. Exception to the rule. KLM butt shot. Not a prototypical landing with high speed and vacating late. Ladies and gentlemen, members, get out your playtime emoji. It is that time again. The A320neo from Play, arriving from Reykjavik, will emerge from the clouds in a few moments. Flight 460. Flight time no longer mentioned, but I think it is around 2.5 hours, if I'm not mistaken. Airbus A320neo, 1 year old, first flight October 2022. So I think, assuming it also has a 1-year factory warranty, now that has just expired. Let's see, Embraer 190 following this airplane, arriving from Zurich, and then another airplane arriving from Bonaire. Right, get that butt shot emoji ready as well. Playtime butt shot combo coming up. There we go. All right, well. Next up, KLM flight 1954. Another narrow body appetizer before some heavy hitters are coming in. Not yet visible, but soon will be, arriving from Zurich. Let me see if I can wipe that few small droplets off my camera screen. Might as well also put in that sunscreen that can probably keep it fully dry. There it is, KLM flight 1954 Embraer 190 arriving from Zurich. Photo bombed by Russell. Thanks, Russell. Cheers, mate. Now touching down after an hour and 14 minutes of flight. This airplane is 11 years old. First flight January 2012. Right, now time for another KLM mix up I should say. Flight 767, of course, not being flown by a Boeing even. Airbus A330 coming in from Bonaire. Airbus A330-300, flight time 8 hours and 22 minutes as we speak. 11 years old, first flight February 2012. After this airplane we are going to see another TUI Dreamliner arriving back from Curaçao. This one from Bonaire, the other one behind it from Curaçao. We're missing one arriving from Aruba, and then the ABC would be complete. The reverser slots open, but they're idling. Again, a redundant feature on KLM airplanes, reverse thrust, which was why I was so surprised when that 737 earlier this morning did actually apply a little bit of reverse thrust. That must be a newbie pilot coming from outside KLM. So, TUI flight 391 arriving from Willemstad, Curaçao. Up next, 7878. Flight time 8 hours and 5 minutes as we speak. Will become visible pretty soon. 9 years old, first flight May 2014. Looks like the EasyJet arriving from Milan is coming this way. The 777 arriving from Shanghai looks like it is on the glide slope for once again keep hearing sirens on that side like we also did yesterday. I think it's firefighters. And my ears playing tricks on me, or well, now no longer. Now I don't hear the sirens anymore. I did hear it when that Dreamliner was touching down, was landing. Right. Let's have another look at the weather. Right. Well, still had flight radar open, so let's begin with that. Our A380 is in the vicinity of Budapest, flying over Hungarian airspace. It's still expected around 12:30. Behind it, still in Romanian airspace, is the China Airlines cargo 747, which is now expected around 1 p.m. Our last airplane of the day is now flying over St. Petersburg by the looks of it. Suparna 747 arriving from Nanjing, also expected around 1 p.m. Not sure if they're going to land on the Polderbaan. Knowing my luck, quote unquote, it's doubtful. But I'm going to stick around and see if we can film it. METAR has changed, wind speed increased, 250 degrees, 14 knots, you can see it. Broken clouds at 400 feet, temperature is 9 degrees Celsius, and it still says no significant changes in the weather are expected. Parallel arrivals right now, and still the 2 runways being used for departures. Let me quickly update the METAR into the ticker for you guys so you can read it back in your own tempo, and add 18C to the current runways for arrivals. Right. Let's have a look. A350 up next, Delta Airlines flight 74. I think that is the first of the show. I did see one while I was setting up, but of course I was still setting up and wasn't able to film it for you guys. Delta Airlines flight 74 up next, arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. Airbus A350-900, flight time 7 hours and 21 minutes. The airplane 4 years old, first flight October 2019. I say to you, show yourself. There you go. Ciao Nicolo. How's that for the speakers, Mrs. Professor? Are they still in one piece? At least the Delta pilots still know where to find that lever. Now, parallel arrivals take place. I did briefly see a glimpse of a triple, I think it was. Visibility is really poor, as you guys can see. Well, on paper visibility is still decent, but you see it is actually a bit hazy. That's, I think, the precipitation. Not turning the camera too much into the wind, because you did see small droplets on the lens. Given the fact that I am mostly zoomed in and that there's a lot of wind blowing, the droplets will probably dry up, have dried up already, and you don't see them that much if you zoom in. So If it really gets bad, I will holding the hand in front of the lens, but you are absolutely unmistakably hearing firefighter sirens. EasyJet arriving from Geneva. I think there's definitely something burning or something. Maybe it says on the P2000 notifications Vijfhuizen, or maybe, well, I think it's Vijfhuizen. It sounds like it is coming from Vijfhuizen. Now I see a siren, finally. Or I see a firefighter. Just to prove that I wasn't imagining things. Looks a bit stubby if you look from a distance. I know they're big trucks, but anyway, let's quickly go back to the great sound of a 777. It's the PHBVD with the SkyTeam livery arriving from Cape Town, South Africa. Now I think that there are a few more droplets on the camera lens. Did not bring a cloth with me, but I do have paper handkerchiefs with me at all times. Let me just see if I can clear that up. But before that, I want to say a big thank you to Dave A010, who just now super chatted. Good morning, boy, and all viewers. Good morning to you too, Dave. Thank you so much for your generous super chat, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody is doing well, of course. And despite the... Oh, that was still fully zoomed in. Hope you guys aren't nauseous. Haven't become nauseous. Weather conditions a bit different from what it looked like on paper this morning before going out. I was very enthusiastic in making a choosing a thumbnail that looked like open skies, because that was what the meter... That's how I interpreted the meter. It was also said on the weather forecast, sun and clouds. So I was thinking this is probably an appropriate thumbnail. Well, guess again. What a mistake to Micah. But then again, at least we are still seeing traffic land over here. We can definitely hear it. Happy to hear that the audio at least is back to what it used to be. British Airways arriving from London Heathrow. And is that the second Warm World special livery we are seeing today? What was Lufthansa, was that One World or was that... Don't know. Don't remember. I don't know who is a member of which alliance by heart. Little squeakiness. And Michael Janssen, good morning. Aus Leer, Oost-Friesland, morgen. Intervloek Spotter, hola. Tameen, good morning. All other viewers who have joined in the meantime, good morning to you too. Our next airplane should be an Embraer 170 from Air France up, arriving from Lyon. Flying as Air France flight 1794. Left Lyon 1 hour and 19 minutes ago, according to flight radar. This airplane is 13 years old. First flight was in March 2010. You can see that there's definitely a little bit of a breeze, crosswind. Wind is mostly from the southwest today. It was a bit more southerly in the beginning of the stream. It has opened up a little bit more to the west. Salut, Air France up. Now, for those of you who were around when we had a look at the satellite images, we could see that there was a bit of shit that we had to wade through first before it was going to get better. If you look now at the distance, I do get the impression that visibility is actually deteriorating. We were able to see the main tower in the distance earlier. It should be over here somewhere. Well, actually we're already past it. It should be somewhere over here in the distance, but you can clearly see it isn't visible. Luckily over here along the runway, everything is still decent enough. Although not a lot of people are here today for a Saturday, it is awfully quiet over here. I think I am, well, no, there's a cyclist coming from behind. So counting him, or is it a her? I think a him. We're together, the two of us. Just the two of us. Yeah, that's a male cyclist on a race bike. German Airways flying for KLM, arriving from Bristol, flight 1050. A little German Airways butt shot. Bit more to the left. There you go. Perfect. You can see it is nicely following the stripe on the tarmac. Right. Influx of narrow bodies. A lot is going to the centered runway. Let me see if I can spot some of the traffic. Actually, no. I'm not seeing anything. The world is getting a little bit more smaller by the hour, it seems like. Oh, is that a pedestrian or is that the cyclist that has stepped off the bicycle? That's the same cyclist as passed by me on the racing bike just now. Having a little sandwich. Right, now traffic to Polderbaan is also approaching. EasyJet arriving from Liverpool. Also got JetBlue A321 arriving from Boston. Triple arriving from Doha, but that is very likely going to go to the center runway. Hopefully they'll close it back soon. Adi George, goedemorgen. Gerrit, goedemorgen. Now, Tom Boss, good morning. Nice name. Our next airplane should become visible anytime now. EasyJet A320 arriving from Liverpool, where it left 47 minutes ago. 13 years old, first flight January 2010. Let's see. Corendon A350 arriving from Willemstad, flying to the northeast just off the coast of Beverwijk. That is good news. Still not seeing the next airplane, also not visually. I do have a few droplets on my camera screen, despite having the sunscreen in front of it. Remarkable, but then again, when there is a little wind and these droplets are very small, they can also fly horizontally, but no worries. Quickly wipe that clean. There we go. Right, the EasyJet A320 arriving from Liverpool, and after this airplane we are going to see the JetBlue A321neo arriving from Boston, Massachusetts. Just curious, how long was the longest flight that you have been on a narrow body? Imagine being on board that JetBlue and having flown for over 6 hours to get to Amsterdam in a narrow body with narrow body like seating. The people on board this JetBlue A321neo, in fact, are on board now for 6 hours and 2 minutes. That is just the flight time, not the boarding included. Says that in the METAR there's a 9,000 visibility. Is that in feet? Surely it can be in meters. I think it's always in meters. I think it's always metric. Pretty sure it is in meters. Well, it is on ground level. We can still see the A5 highway. That is probably 2 or 3 kilometers away from here. Ooh, beautiful. Look at the vortices. Now, we're also still able to see the far end of the runway, so considering that the METAR is a bit outdated, could be that an hour ago visibility was still 9 kilometers, but I do think it is ambitious to say that that is accurate for the current time. For right now, I would definitely say it has become less. Looks like it's continuing to become less. Alright, now, next up is going to be a Boeing 737-900 from KLM, arriving from Birmingham, flight 1422, flight time no longer mentioned. But that is probably an hour or less. The airplane we're looking at is 22 years old, began flying in October of the year 2001. Have to be really early with pressing on the labels to get the flight time still in it. I did that for the next airplane, so that should be good. HBXS. Hey Paul, good morning Mr. Biker. Hope all is well. Hope you guys are having better weather than we are right here, right now. Next up, another 737 from KLM, an 800. The other one we saw land just now was a 900. KLM flight 1072, coming back home from Manchester. 45 minutes of flight time as we speak. 4-year-old airplane, first flight April 2019. Now, if you are into KLM 737s, this is your 737s in general. The next 737 after this is from Transavia, but it is flying for KLM. It's all KLM group. It's one of their current livery 737s that has been rented out to KLM. So the flight number is KLM. Next airplane is from Transavia. Definitely a bit hazy. Ever so slight drizzle. It's, well, I wear glasses. It's rain that you don't get wet from, but that if you wear glasses, your glasses get wet from. Just a few droplets on the camera and the mic, nothing substantial. So the next airplane is from Transavia, but has been rented out to KLM. It's flying for KLM, arriving back from Dublin, Ireland as flight 934. Flight time 1 hour and 4 minutes. 16 years old, first flight April 2007, and the airplane after it is going to be the Corendon / World to Fly A350 rental with the hybrid livery. The Corendon name on the main fuselage and the engines and tail still depicting the logo and name of World to Fly, the rental company. High humidity, insofar as that wasn't clear yet, you can definitely tell by the vortices emanating from the flap tips before the spoilers rise. Which distorts airflow. Apparently also at the part where the vortices emanate from, which of course is making sense now that I think about it, because it is the coming together of the airflow above and below the wing that makes the vortex appear. So if you spoil the airflow on one side, you're going to spoil the formation of the vortex as well. Makes sense, yeah. Took a little while. Only had 2 cups of coffee today yet. It's a good thing that I haven't drunk more, otherwise I would have needed to go to the bathroom. Next up is going to be the A350 from Corendon / World to Fly, coming back home from Willemstad, Curaçao, flying as flight 598 for Corendon. Flight time 8 hours 15 minutes. Brand new airplane. First began flying in May of this year. Hey there, Tiger. Guten Morgen. Good to see you again. Hope all is well. All other viewers who have joined us in the meantime, good morning from a somewhat nebulous Schiphol airport. Definitely not the weather conditions that it showed on the thumbnail. The METAR this morning did appear to indicate it was going to be decent weather. Well, turned out that the METAR was wrong. It will get better at some point. maybe later in the day. For now, we have to make do with relatively low visibility. Let's see if we are going to hear the reversers being applied. Captain let down. Unfortunately, right, there's a banana coming this way. I'm not sure if it's going to land on this runway. I hope it will. Arriving from Madrid. It does look like it is turning final now onto the glide slope of the Polderbaan. For those of you who don't know, when I'm referring to a banana, we're talking about a DHL Airbus A300. Ancient machines, still occasionally visiting Schiphol Airport. Looks like it is coming to Polderbaan. Well, also coming in from Madrid, like the A300 in a few minutes, is this Iberia Express A320. Hitman Agent 47. Nice name, says. Een hele goede morgen vanuit de Achterhoek. Goedemorgen, good morning to you too. I think at some point back in time I have played that game, Agent 47 Hitman. Wasn't that a PlayStation game or something? No, must have been a computer. Well, something I remember from years gone by. Next up is an Embraer 190, another narrow-body appetizer in between. Flight 916 arriving from Southampton. With a flight time of 46 minutes, this airplane has been flying in total now for 14 years, began in October 2009. Must be another newbie pilot that they hired from outside of KLM. Thinking, what the F is this lever doing? Let's try it out. Don't see that very often, don't hear that very often I should say. Reversers actually being applied by KLM pilots. Nice for a change. So, even though it's a redundant feature, they do still equip them, apparently. The airplane manufacturers, that is. I think that is a bird control vehicle. Hard to tell, I just see the lights. But I think it might be the bird control vehicle. Is it behind me? No, there's nothing behind me. It's probably K4. Right, now, next up is going to be the A300 Banana DHL A300 600 arriving from Madrid. Will become visible shortly. The airplane, 32 years old, ladies and gentlemen, began flying in January 1991. 1991. That's the year that they took down the Berlin Wall, right? Or was that in... No, that was in 91, wasn't it? When... Wasn't that also when Yeltsin took over from Gorbachev? Man, now I have to delve deep into my memory. I'm sure a lot of viewers weren't even born yet. Wasn't that also the year that Bill Clinton became president? Berlin Wall went down in 89 already. Okay. And it was A1 instead of K4. And Hans is taking my redundant remark literally. I was making a joke, mate. They never use it. That's why I was saying it's a redundant feature on KLM airplanes. Right, now it is back to the narrow bodies for the time being. Although I don't see any airplanes go to center anymore. Now, I didn't see them in the first place, but now flight radar shows that no airplanes are going to center anymore. KLM flight 1230 up next, arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle, 737-800. One of the many flights. Wonder how many flights go to Heathrow and Charles de Gaulle from KLM on a daily basis. Definitely two. Frequently visited airports by KLM Blue. Hadi Joep, goedemorgen. Marissa has to do chores. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Marissa. Good to see you again, and hopefully until soon. Right, Transavia 737-700 up next, arriving from the party island Ibiza, flight 5672, flight time no longer mentioned, airplane age 20 years, first flight March 2003. So how bloody early do I have to press on the labels then? Iceland Air already activated, now it does show the flight time, okay. After this airplane, we are going to see Iceland Air with one of their MAX 8s. The new Iceland Air livery reminds me a little bit of this livery from Transavia. It has the name of the carrier on the side. but everything is blue instead of green. So next up, Iceland Air Flight 506, Boeing 737 MAX 8. Flight time 2 hours and 29 minutes to get from Reykjavik to Amsterdam thus far. 5 years old in total. The airplane began flying in March 2018. After that, another long-haul flight from Brussels no less to Amsterdam, KLM 737-800. I'm always curious to what capacity are they filled, how much people are on board. Nice vortices again. Bit of accent, pink, purple, and an Icelandic butt shot coming in. Here we go. A little bit more to the left, a little bit more to the left. There you go, there you go. Perfectly in line. Hey Peter K, good morning. Good to see you again. Hope all is well. And indeed, Hans, a train might be faster, unless it is a stop train, of course, that stops at every little itty bitty station. Now, next up is that airplane, that long haul airplane, KLM Flight 1724, the 737-800, arriving from Brussels, 4 years old. First flight March 2019. So apparently you can use these airplanes to fly all the way to Israel and to Egypt with them in one go. Hour-long journeys. And what does this airplane do? Goes to Brussels. A figurative stone's throw away from Amsterdam. But then again, so too is Düsseldorf. Almost near twilight conditions. Of course, this time of year the sun never gets higher above the horizon than approximately 15 degrees. There are some people over there, but looks like more people are watching from within their car than actually standing along the fence of the Polderbaan parking place. I'm not completely alone though. Russell and Cheryl are over here, and there are a couple of more birds over there. My feathered friends will keep me company today, and you guys, of course, online. Next up, Embraer 190 arriving from Newcastle. German Airways flying for KLM. Embraer 190 long range, 17 years old, first flight January 2006. Hey Rolf, goedemorgen. Good to see you, my friend. Hope all is well. That's still a sunscreen. Well, obviously above the clouds the sun is always shining. Right. Next up, another Transavia 737 arriving from Alicante, Spain. And again, I am too late with pressing on the label, flight time no longer mentioned. 737-800, 6 years old, first flight April 2017. Also not seeing any progress in how quickly we see the airplanes. They are still very becoming visible very last minute, unfortunately. In Dutch we call this time of year de donkere dagen voor kerst, which literally translates to the dark days before Christmas. And that is definitely what it feels like today. Ho ho ho. And what a difference a day makes. Hey Alan, morning mate. Liewe, goedemorgen. Good to see you guys. And Thijs also, goedemorgen. Also back at the chat after many hospital visits. Hopefully you won't have to go there very often anymore. It's good that they're there, but it's not a place you want to spend too much time in. I have to be quick today. E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Munich. Missed the start of the show today. Well, it was the start where everything happened. All the most important things. You missed it all. Such a shame. Nah. Don't think we saw the first quad. I think the first quad was the A340. That was well. We were already quite well in the stream by then. I'm also getting a notification through PayPal right now. A very generous donation from Ian McPherson. Thank you so much for that, Ian. I hope you are watching and hearing me. Thank you so much for that. Very much appreciated. PayPal notification of a very nice donation. Thank you, Ian. Looks like there are also again a few droplets on the lens. Let's see, 2 Embraer 175s coming up. Maybe after that. Wipe it dry again. Also a bit of a halo around the lights. Not sure if that has to do with the iris or aperture setting. Still filming at f8. And again, as soon as the airplane is no longer directly pointed towards us, that is no longer an issue. Hey Martin, goedemorgen. John and John, good morning. So many Johns in chat today. Hey, I'm not completely alone. I see that our friendly neighborhood, the police, is also present. Yesterday they were negotiating with the Schiphol guys to get access to the premises, but now they are just chilling and relaxing over there. I see you. Hey Frank, goedemorgen. Mr. Cole, goedemorgen. Right. Embraer 175s. What I am going to do is just clean the lens a little bit. It's not very wet, but it does accumulate a little bit, and there are already halos around the lights if they point directly towards you, so don't want to get more distortion. Don't want to introduce more distortion than is strictly necessary. Also quickly back on with the heated glove. Happy that I brought those along and the hand warmer. Particularly with wind, it can definitely add up. Now, another Embraer 175 up next. You guys are lucky, you don't see them very often here. KLM flight 1740 arriving from Luxembourg. 5 years old this airplane, flight time no longer mentioned, but I think it was 40 or so minutes. I remember being surprised by seeing the flight time of Luxembourg being approximately similar to Amsterdam, Paris and Amsterdam, London. 40 to 45 minutes. It has a white nose. Maybe it already enjoyed a white Christmas. The airplane is 5 years old, first flight January 2018. And apparently snowy conditions in Luxembourg. Still a nice butt shot to boot. Right, next up A737-900 arriving from Berlin. KLM flight 1822. Flight time no longer mentioned. The airplane 19 years old, first flight April 2004. You get to see a few vortices just before the spoilers go up. Airplane should be an Embraer 190, also a very rare airplane that you don't see very often over here at Schiphol Airport, arriving from Edinburgh, flight 1278. Flight time no longer mentioned, but I think it was around an hour or so. I have to be really early with pressing the labels today. Airplane 13 years old, first flight March 2010. I actually get the impression that the wind might be picking up a little bit, so let's see, do we have a moment to spare? Probably not. We'll have to make one. It's now 11:44, so at least there is a new METAR published at 11:25. We'll have another look. Let's camera to the north already so that when it does become visible we can see the Transavia 737-800. And let's dive into the current situation once again. First, runway usage, refresh just the polderbaan being used. Refresh the METAR, what does it say? Wind from the southwest, varying between west and a bit south of southwest, has increased to 15 knots. Slight drizzle, bit of mist also confirmed now in the METAR. No shit Sherlock, I would say. We already saw that quite a while ago. The last 3 airplanes of the show, this one being the very last, is now over the Baltic Sea. We have the A380 in German airspace and the China Airlines cargo 747 is north of Vienna in Czech Republic airspace. Right. Let me also paste that ticker into the METAR for you guys. You can read it back at your own discretion. And arrivals, let's get rid of that 18C once again. And also a big thank you to Martin Air for your super chat. Thank you so much for that, my friend. Very much appreciated. Now, if you guys are still enjoying the show despite the low visibility and you haven't done so already, don't forget to drop a like. Helps spread the content to other aviation enthusiasts that might also like this content, just like you guys are. Our next airplane is KLM flight 1142, an E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Oslo. Brand new, began flying in January of this year, so next month it celebrates its first birthday. Cargo A3... No, sorry, I was thinking of MNG, but this is Air Arabia Maroc up next. And once again hearing sirens coming from the west. Now it seems like it's more from the northwest, from the A9 highway. Little butt shot and have a look at those engines. You can see through them quite well. High bypass. Although the lighting today is not very optimal. Alright, next up is Air Arabia Maroc, arriving from Tangier, flight 127, Airbus A320, 9 years old, first flight June 2014. Heard the reverser spool up ever so briefly. Unfortunately, not more than that for today. Would be nice if a few more A330s would come. Stir some shit up. But it is narrow bodies for the time being. Next up is EasyJet flight 22161 arriving from Manchester, another A320. Also an airplane type and an airline carrier that you seldomly see over here. Very rare, EasyJet. particularly their A320s. This one is 7 years old, first flight February 2016. Tippy-toey. And a little butt shot to boot. Hey Afrodite, goedemorgen. Jij ook hier? Good to see you. Did not expect that. I thought I saw a notification of a message of you saying that you weren't able to make it this weekend. So quite surprised to see you here. Happy that you are there. Hope everybody is doing well. Now, Herr Wolf, thank you so much for your gifted memberships just now. As a moderator, of course, you are totally not obliged to do any of the sort. You're doing more than enough as it is already by just moderating. Thank you so much. Don't forget to say Dankeschön if you just now got gifted a membership by Austrian Wolf. Herr Wolf, Dankeschön. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those new members. Feel free to use the custom emojis at your disposal at will. It's basically permission to spam us indefinitely with it. Go wild. Live out your wildest fantasies with the emojis. Nah, that sounds wacky. You guys know what I mean. Well, it's the day of rare airplanes. Here we see a classic Transavia, also an airplane very seldomly seen here in the Netherlands. It's coming from Barcelona. Now, hardly any airplane traffic between Amsterdam and Barcelona, so this is quite a rarity today, very special for you guys. 737-800, flight 5132, took 2 hours to get here. Airplane 13 years old, first flight July 2010. Oh, get well soon, Afrodite. Afrodite has the flu. It is that time of year again. Snotterseizoen. It's always the season that my nose starts running. Luckily, it is just running and not infectiously running. Personally, I'm always blessed with hardly ever getting the flu or anything. Maybe once or twice a stuffed nose for a few days, but nasal congestant spray usually does the trick. The police is coming this way. Is it going to be Officer Rudolph, one of our valued members, or is it one of his co-workers? Also a guy running, group of young fellows of course also here. And now looking on at flight radar, seems that we have a few minutes before the next traffic will arrive. The next airplane, an Embraer 190 from KLM, arriving from Hamburg, flying towards the glide slope just south of Alkmaar. Looks like there might also be a... Well, I waved and like a stoic, the police officer was looking dead ahead of him. Definitely not Rudolph. Rudolph would have stopped and made a chat. But there you go. So, a couple of young guys over here, the pedestrian walking past me. Morgen! Right now the only people over here, and the police officer of course. Is that a second police vehicle? Is that where the donut exchange takes place? Let's see. Oh no, it's the Schiphol. It's the same get together that we saw yesterday as well. The yellow vehicle from Schiphol security. Oh, they're urging the red car, the driver of the red car, to take a hike with the car, that is. The proverbial hike. Not allowed to park over there, of course, blocking the way for if ever there was an emergency and they had to access the premises. Does look, if you look right of the police vehicle, it does look like more people have gathered now at the main parking place of, hey, is that a birth control vehicle? No, it would have said K on the pickup truck. For a moment I thought it was one of the VW pickup trucks. Just right, the police truck, the police vehicle is making a good reference to show you where you need to look to see where the fence of the parking place of the actual parking the spottersplatz is. So that is where you can officially park your car and stand in front of or behind the gate to look at the airplanes. Now of course you can also walk away from the parking lot over the cycling path where this runner on the right is now running over. It's also how I get to my car again, which is over there where those people are at. That's the official parking place. Another group of people coming this way by the looks of it. I thought for a moment I thought they were going to take a selfie of themselves with the police vehicle. Police is back on its way. So it is actually getting a bit more busy by the looks of it. Not able to see if the French fry truck is there already. I see a Dreamliner appear on my screen of flight radar. Air Canada Flight 808 arriving from Toronto, Canada. And we should be seeing an Embraer 190 from KLM arriving from Hamburg in a moment. Flight 1780. Hey, and I'm still in time to click with clicking on the label because I can still see the flight time. 37 minutes to get from Hamburg to where it is right now. It is going to this runway, isn't it? Yeah, it should be going to Poldermaan. Unless it's the similar situation as with the Qatar triple, all of a sudden going to a different location on the radar and then landing right in front of our faces. Well, according to flight, oh there it is. I was about to say, according to flight radar, it should be damn close already. So, KLM flight 1780 arriving from Hamburg. Flight time 38 minutes. Embraer 190, 13 years old, first flight August 2010. Right. Further north and with on unimpeded visibility, we would probably have been able to see it. I think. Air Canada Flight 808 flying base will be turning final shortly. Arriving from Toronto. 7878 Dreamliner has been flying now for 6 hours and a minute according to flight radar. The airplane is 9 years old. Its first flight was in April 2014. It's now 12 o'clock, so in half an hour or so from now we should be expecting the Emirates A380. It is still in German airspace, but it is getting closer by. Expected around 12:30, and just west of Prague is the first of two 747s that are following the A380, China Airlines cargo, expected around 1 p.m. 1:03. The last airplane of the day, Suparna Airlines, expected around 1:07. I have absolutely no idea yet if we are going to see these airplanes, because they have to land on Polderbaan in order for us to be able to see them. So might well be that we are only going to see vague contours of them. I think they are sufficiently big that we should be able to see some of them if they were to go to center. In fact, when I zoom out a little bit, looking a bit more up, I do see that it is looking like it is opening up a little bit. At least no longer the small droplets seem to be falling. Question is, will it open up a bit further? Right, Air Canada Flight 808. You might not pick it up on the camera, but it does look a bit more open now. A bit lighter. I think I can make out the tower once again. Another indication that it is opening up ever so slightly. I think I can point the camera into the wind again without a lot of small droplets falling onto it. Still a few. Nowhere near as bad as it was before. Well, it is a Saturday, it's remarkably quiet here. Also in terms of air traffic, we also saw that earlier in the week. Don't know what the fuss is about when they're talking about reducing flights, because looking around me this morning, it doesn't look that busy. Why would they reduce the flight number, the amount of flights even further? Right, Air Canada Flight 808, it should become visible pretty soon. I think there it is. Also no longer halos around the lights by the looks of it. Lovely airplane, pity that they don't use the reversers that much. Heard it spool up just a little bit, but not much to write home about, unfortunately. Now let's see what else is in the pipeline. Embraer 190, Embraer 190, Embraer 175, Embraer 175. 777 arriving from Sao Paulo now over the southwest of the Netherlands. The second Iceland Air Max 8 is also coming this way. Wow, it is really quiet here today right now. Typical. Don't recall that on Saturday it is typically so quiet. Well, we're still waiting for the next airplane to arrive. That is a Speedbird Embraer 190 arriving from London City. In the meantime, let's have a look at the Canadian Dreamliner, doing a little bit of taxiing. I see that the Embraer 190 has arrived on the scene. Oh, and I also saw that that yellow pickup truck is now on the other side at the fence over there, which I can probably show you after this landing. So it looked like a birth control vehicle, but it wasn't, but it does look to be like Schiphol security or something. Interesting. And Aphrodite mentions that the LVNO website says Boulder now the only runway for arrivals. That is good news. Hopefully it's going to stay that way until 1 o'clock, until both 747s have landed. The first 747 is not too far behind the A380. The A380 is expected in half an hour from now, so I'm thinking there's a good chance that we are going to see the A380 land on this runway. And there's also reasonable likelihood that the first of the two 747s we are also going to capture. The second one I don't know for sure yet, because that is expected. Well, no, I mean no. They were both expected around 1 o'clock, right? Well, I think at least we can say with a reasonable degree of certainty that the A380 is going to land on this runway once again. Again, don't say anything with 100% certainty, but the likelihood has definitely increased if right now this is still the only runway in use for arrivals. People keep hearing me say birth control, but I am saying bird control. Bird is the word. Although I do sometimes say birth control on purpose just to confuse you guys. Now, This is an actual bird control vehicle coming this way. Behind me, I'm also looking, there should be another Embraer 190 arriving from Cardiff. You can see the bird controller uses the windscreen wipers. It is still slightly drizzly. It was only very briefly that it looked like it was drying, getting drier, but I'm still feeling teeny tiny droplets. K4 has been replaced by K3. And that makes for a nice transition to the Embraer 190. KLM flight 1060 arriving from Cardiff. Captain Wheelie, once again, the trademark Wheelie. Landing, touching down the nose gear at approximately the same point as yesterday. I did not look at the registration, but wouldn't be surprised if it was the same as the one yesterday doing the long wheelie. Again, Russell also over here. Where's that? No, that is Russell indeed. Thought it might have been Chris de Kestrel, but we never did see if he succeeded in capturing another mouse or rat or whatever it was. He was hunting for breakfast this morning, but after losing track of him, we never saw him back again. Oh, it's Cheryl. Russell called in sick today, Frank says. Now, next up, Polish Airlines lot flight 263 arriving from Warsaw, an Embraer 175 with a flight time of 1 hour and 35 minutes. 14 years old, first flight November 2009. So it is nice to see that more people are out now. For a while I had the place to myself, but you can definitely see a couple of duos over here, also looking in the other direction. Family with the dog, a couple of friends, more duos. You can also hear the wind. It is definitely not slowing down yet. Now those droplets that you see might look very big when zoomed out, but they are tiny, almost invisible. Again, it's weather where if you wear glasses like I am, your glasses get wet, but you yourself basically stay dry all the time. Have to remember to stay hydrated, lose a lot of moisture through talking and through my runny nose. Still waiting for the lot Embraer to show itself. Which shouldn't be much longer, and as I was saying it appeared. Here we go. So this Embraer 175 from Lot is arriving from Warsaw. Took 1 hour 37 minutes to get here. From there, the airplane itself is 14 years old. Began flying in November 2009. Standard livery. Got another Embraer 175 following it from KLM, arriving from Humberside. And well, let's look at the landing. Also sounds like an idle reverse landing. That is to say, the slot's open, but we don't hear any engines spooling up to do some reverse braking. Right, was listening in what I was hearing from the left. I think it was a V8 engine that was taking off from the traffic lights or something, accelerating. Now, KLM Embraers coming up. Embraer 175, Embraer 190. Turning in for base is a Wheelie A320 arriving from Barcelona. Left of me, I should normally be able to see a 777-300 that is arriving from Sao Paulo. But it's flying at 7,000 feet, so no dice, not able to see anything today. It is flying on the downwind leg. It is expected to land not too far from now. And Marissa is back. Chores are done. Good to have you back, Marissa. You missed all kinds of stuff like grayness, mist, drizzle, police, a yellow pickup truck, a guy running, a family with their dog. So much eventful things. And then this rarity which we are going to get a bot shot from by the looks of it. Bit more to the left. Bit more. Come on. Up, up. Up, up. Bit more. Still not enough. Okay. Definitely not following the right path. Hey there, Mr. Jackson, good to see you. Hope all is well. Now, from one Embraer to the other. Another one of the German Airways Embraers flying for KLM. You can still see the second officer, or first officer I should say, had the sunscreen out, blocking the sun. So apparently above all this dark grayness, grey darkness, the sun is still shining. Hard to believe, but that is definitely an indication that seems to be pointing in that direction. Now, next up is a Wheelie A320 arriving from Barcelona, flight AD309. How about that? I can still see the flight time. 1 hour and 53 minutes as we speak. The airplane is 17 years old. First flight November 2006. All that's missing is the airplane itself now. Still in the clouds. Also see a light on the cycling path. Is that a cyclist? Oh, is that a moped? That's a moped coming this way. Is that a pizza delivery guy? Did somebody order pizza for me? There it is, the A320 from Wheelie arriving from Barcelona. Behind it is going to be the second of the Iceland Air Max 8s. We already saw flight 506. Next up is going to be flight 500. It's an electric moped. Breakfast pizza. Thank you guys so much. Just what I was needing. While the hands are still toasty, it is actually a bit chilly with the wind constantly blowing here. Spanish butt shot coming in. Ole! Right, now, next up is going to be Iceland Air Flight 500 Max 8 arriving from Reykjavik. Flight time 2 hours 20 minutes. All par for the course, it's already there. There you go. 5 years old, first flight August 2018. After that we are going to see KLM Flight 792, a 777-300 ER arriving from Sao Paulo. It's been a while since we last seen a 777. Now unfortunately KLM 777s probably going to land smooth and boring, which of course technically is great, and if you're on board it's all perfectly fine. For us, probably just as dull as the weather has been, but at least it's not an Embraer or a 737. The wind is definitely not slowing down yet. Next up, 777 time. Flight 792 from KLM arriving from Sao Paulo. Flight time 11 hours and 6 minutes. It's a 777-300 ER, 12 years old. First flight January 2011. Still in the clouds, but will become visible anytime now. Also, the A380 is approaching, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you look on flight radar and you look a little bit to the east, northeast of Schiphol, you will see that Emirates Flight 147 is flying over Markermeer, as it's called, the inland water, the body of water between the province of Flevoland to the right, containing the cities Almere and Lelystad, which we basically created as Dutch. Basically pumped all the water out, put in some sand, or was that even not necessary? I don't even know. It was done so long ago already, so far ahead of time. Our forefathers were. Right, it's quiet on flight radar. This airplane was the number 6 worldwide most tracked by 288 people, so a lot of people out doing Christmas shopping and other stuff. Now, the A380, looking a bit further out. Shamrock also coming this way. Not sure if the A380 will land before the Shamrock A320. I think that it might be first, so that would make the A380 the number 3 today. Right now, I should say, not today, but for the moment. The number 1 is KLM flight 6962, Embraer 190 arriving from Newcastle, where it left 45 minutes ago. This is a 13-year-old airplane we're about to see. First flight August 2010. I think that the Aer Lingus A320 arriving from Dublin is going to be the number 2. Number 3 is going to be the Emirates A380. Where are the other airplanes we are still waiting for? Zooming a little bit out. Just north of Kassel is the first of the 2 747s, still expected to land around 1:03 p.m. The other is flying over the north of Germany, arriving from Nanjing. Suparna expected at 1:10 p.m. so that is in 40 minutes from now. This airplane, the Suparna, is going to be the last airplane of the day. After that, I'm going to wrap it up and start warming up somewhere inside. The hands are still toasty though. The hands are still toasty. But despite wearing rain trousers over my jeans, I still notice that the legs are getting a little bit chilly. We should be seeing the next airplane any minute now. It's going to be KLM flight 962, Embraer 190 arriving from Newcastle. Left there 47 minutes ago in the meantime. 13 years old, first flight August 2010. There it is. Pity that we aren't going to see much of the A380 only shortly before it leaves the clouds. If you just tuned in, my apologies for the misleading thumbnail of today's stream. Looking at the METAR this morning when it was still dark and before going out, it looked like it was going to be a nice day actually. Visibility 10 kilometers, CAV okay. It was all looking good in the METAR and it was still dark, so I figured this is probably going to be representative of the weather later this morning. Well, man, was I wrong. The weather forecast also said for today clouds and sun. So I figured that is going to be what it's going to look like. Now, haven't had a single 2 airplane glide slope shot in the stream today. Unfortunately, visibility only got worse as the morning progressed. Ricardo says, hoi boy, ik ga weer, fijn weekend. That is very unfortunate if you have to leave right now, Ricardo. That is very poor timing. We have a retro livery Aer Lingus coming up. We also saw that recently at runway 27. Very nice, beautiful airplane. And after that we are going to see the Emirates A380. So Ricardo, if you still have 10 more minutes to spare, definitely worth sticking around for 2 nice airplanes coming up next. Shamrock flight 604. It's a wonderfully looking retro livery. A320 arriving from Dublin. Flight time of this airplane has been an hour now. Was about to say 59 minutes and then exactly the clock went to 1 hour on flight radar. The airplane is 12 years old. First flight was in February 2011. More retro liveries, damn it. I like them. With those black tipped noses. Minimalistic liveries, but still classy. Hey there, Jing Cathay spotter. Perfect timing. Good to see you, mate. Hope all is well. All other viewers, hope all is well with you as well. We're still in the air for half an hour or so. There are two 747s flying in German airspace that I hope are going to land on this runway. I am at least going to stick around until they have landed. If they aren't going to land on this runway, they are very likely going to land on runway center, and I'm hoping that despite the weather conditions, because of their size, we would still be able to see them, albeit a bit faintly. Those mofos from ATC yesterday sending the updated orange pride to the wrong runway because of maintenance or something. All morning everything went to our runway, and the one airplane we were waiting for sent off to the wrong runway. Right. I see we are going on the French mode. Où est l'avion? Ici. Et quel avion! C'est magnifique. Wish all Aer Linguses would look like this. We're also going to get a booty shot. Awesome. All right, well, let's quickly turn back. The A380 is already here. Emirates flight 147 arriving from Dubai, standard livery. Flight time no longer mentioned, on average 6.5 hours. If it had headwind, it might have been a bit longer. Well, not too bad. Not very loud, but definitely a nice landing. And a little retro Airbus leading the way. Now, folks, two more quad engine airplanes we are waiting for. Hopefully we'll see it up close like we did with the A380 just now. Two 747s in German airspace. The Suparna and China Cargo Airline Cargo, China Cargo, something Eastern. Still coming around 1 o'clock, 25 minutes from now. Fingers crossed. What is the expected runway usage on Bezoek Bus, ladies and gentlemen? What's the plan that Schiphol intends to execute in terms of runway usage? Wouldn't be surprised if 18C would open up anytime now. The return of the vortices, the flap tip vortices, indicative of the high humidity in case you hadn't noticed. Molto grazie Nicolo, who says I am a legend. Big words, very much appreciated. And Chunky already gives the heads up, ATC going to troll you, they always are. I still say we should gather with pitchforks and torches, head over to LVNL and demand some goddamn changes in our favor. Right, next up, Embraer 190, KLM flight 1986 arriving from Basel. Flight time no longer mentioned. It does say the age of the airplane, 8 years, first flight December 2015. Frank says, boy is not only a legend but also has a cold leg end. Definitely, 2 legs, 2 cold legs, 2 cold leg ends. Might have to resort to start using those heated socks that I got when I ordered the replacement or the spare set of batteries for the heated gloves that I did not know would be included. Bit hesitant to use them. Alibaba Chinese made heated socks. Well, don't want to end up in the hospital in Beverwijk where you go to when you get serious burns, which isn't far away from here, but come to think of it, Beverwijk. All right. Marissa is not giving us cheerful news. She says that the Qatar flying ahead of the China Airlines Queen is scheduled for 18C. I'm actually seeing a Transavia 737 that is arriving from Thessaloniki that now seems to be on the glide slope for center. So that makes it very likely that the 2 queens will both be going. Well, no, wait a minute. Suparna might still land on Polderbaan, or no, wait, shit, no. We also saw Chinese triples arriving from Shanghai earlier in the morning that were assigned to 18C when there were parallel arrivals taking place. Okay, so the question now is then, how well can we see traffic going to center at the moment? How much more is it open now than it was before? I think the most difficult part is that the cloud base is relatively low, not so much visibility. Visibility below the cloud base is reasonably okay. It's not opening up significantly more, but you can definitely see the tower once again, and well, you probably won't see it on camera, but it does look a bit brighter now. It does look like the clouds are getting thinner. I think that the cloud base is still so low that when you see the airplanes in that part of the sky, normally speaking, they are probably still going to be in the clouds. That Transavia 737, I'm looking now, should be close to the runway. I'm not seeing it, I'm just panning back and forth with the camera. Oh wait, there it is. So we can see, this is what we can see of the 747s in a moment. Now that is still very decent. This is fully zoomed in with optical zoom. I can enable digital zoom to give a bit of additional zoom. We saw that yesterday when checking out the Orange Pride. Now, what I have to do then, there's another airplane coming in. I will have to have a look and see, because now I happen to see it. The question now is, how well in advance can we see it? Where does it emerge from out of the clouds? Also, have to keep in mind that there is another airplane also coming to the Polderbaan. A320neo from Wheelie arriving from Barcelona. Hey, is that the same red? I think it was a VW Polo that was chased away earlier. I think it might be the same guys that were standing here and that also were parked over there earlier that got chased away. They're doing hide and seek with the authorities. It definitely looks like the same guys and the same vehicle now standing there. So, test case number 2, there should be an Embraer 190 arriving from Stuttgart, go to center, and we should be able to see it. The question is, where will it appear from the clouds? Visibility on ground level, I mean, this is more than 10 kilometers away, granted. The chimneys, that is. Also, a big thank you to Danny, who just now became a member. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, Danny. Thank you so much for your support. Feel free to spam us completely mad with all the custom emojis if you feel so. Right, okay, so test case number 2. Over here is where I think it is more or less emerging from the clouds. So that is, well, basically where these guys are standing. Okay, if they don't move. Now it's at just west of the just left of the gate. Okay, reference frame built. If those queens both go to center, we will at least come prepared. You also see that there's a 777-200 arrival from Guayaquil flying to the north on the downwind leg. We'll be seeing it shortly. First, a Neo from Wheelie arriving from Barcelona. Nice airplanes, bit quiet though. And That's a Turkish A321 that is coming to center. Ryanair arriving from Dublin. Up next on Polderbaan, flight 420. Flight time no longer mentioned, but we saw earlier that that is approximately an hour. Dublin, Amsterdam, 737-800, 15 years old, first flight December 2008. Of course, Ryanair has a reputation for their landings, although truth be told I have never seen that actually over here at Amsterdam. Let's see. This also looks like a very nice landing. I've definitely seen worse. What's nice about Ryanair is that they often use the reversers, as was the case just now. 737s, they might be a bit boring, they might be very ubiquitous, but they do have the capacity to make a nice sound if they choose to apply the reversers. In the meantime, Turkish A321 going to center. Oh, forgot to enable digital zoom. We'll do that right away. Also allows us the possibility to zoom in a little bit with additional digital zoom for any queens that are going to go to that runway. Let me delve into the menu. That was the image stabilizer. Page back, digital zoom. And able and back to the main screen. Also back to the north with the camera because the next airplane for Polderbaan is there. Top Air Portugal. Crazy zoom with digital zoom over the optical zoom, which reaches until here. Right, let's quickly turn back. 777 time, KLM flight 622 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. Boom. Additional digital zoom. 777-300 ER, flight time no longer mentioned. It does say that the airplane is 2 years old, first flight January 2021. Alright. Next up, another Embraer 190 arrival from Teesside or Darlington. KLM flight 1534. Flight time 45 minutes. 5-year-old airplane, first flight February 2018. Now it's 10-1. Let's see. 777 arrival from Guayaquil is number 2 over here. first of the 747s is flying towards Lelystad. Can somebody have a look and see where the Suparna Queen is, to which runway it has been assigned? I'm assuming that the first Queen is going to go to center. I think the second one will too, but now, thank you all so much for 500 likes, and particularly a big thank you to JD, who just now gifted 5 more memberships. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those 5 new members. If you just got gifted a membership by JD, don't forget to say thank you very much. Thank you all so much for the likes, and JD, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those new members, welcome to the club. Feel free to use the custom emojis at your disposal whenever you want, however you want. Next up, KLM flight 755 777-200 arriving from Guayaquil, Ecuador. Flight time 10 hours and 31 minutes. The airplane is 16 years old. Its first flight was in January 2007. Also zooming out to see right. So maybe I missed if somebody responded to my request. Can somebody see what runway the Suparna has been assigned to? It's also already in Dutch airspace. I'm assuming both will go to center, but I'm hoping we might see one of them over here. Does look nice and clean, has to be said. For its age. 18C, okay, thanks Marissa. Bummer. In that case, let's focus on how quickly we can see airplanes already. So this is already the point where we can see the traffic. That much we have already established. With a little bit of digital zoom over the optical zoom, if I use my rubber band for smoothness, we can still get decent amount of details out of Queens going to center. Just want to be able to capture it as quickly as possible, as soon as possible. So let's now prepare for that and have a look and see if we can see where airplanes to center emerge from the clouds. Last time I saw something was just right of that red car and those guys on the other side. I'm hoping a bit further to the left we can already start seeing the airplanes. Should be an E2 as a test case somewhere over there right now. Okay, yeah, I saw it emerge. Hope you guys saw it too. It was just approximately over there. So it does look like the cloud base is really low, and that is the place we need to look to. So that is oh, that's easy. Reference frame. The house with the commercial on the roof. Right, quickly back to the next landing at Polderbound Transavia, flight 6332 737-800, arriving from Valencia. Flight time no longer mentioned. The airplane itself, 23 years old, first flight February 2000. Also a big thank you to Danny, who is celebrating 2 months of membership, and he writes: de stoelen in deze lounge zitten erg lekker, boy. The seats in this lounge are sitting quite comfortable. Thank you so much for that, Danny. Glad you like the seats. Thank you so much for your continued support. Congratulations, and I hope that you will be able to enjoy the seats and the views for many more months to come as a valued member. Here too I see the airplane going to center emerge just left of it. It is more or less over this building. That's easy reference frame, that's good. Means that we are now in waiting mode for the 2 queens that are expected pretty soon. The last airplanes of the day, the very last airplane of the day is going to be the Suparna airplane. Over here, Air France A321. A321. If I still know my French a little bit. Now, let's have a look. Let's test it out. Over here we have the building. Zooming out a little bit. Qatar 777-300 arriving from Doha. We should see it emerge over there. That's a good test case for the first of the 2 queens that we will see in a couple of minutes. It's difficult because you have to wait, and based on what you see on flight radar, there it is. Okay, so it's a little left, even a little left of the building. Great, we got to fine tune it. This is with additional digital zoom over the optical zoom. You can nicely see the wing fluff. Are we also seeing, normally speaking, those triples also make for very nice vortices. We're now only just seeing wing fluff, if that stupid KLM isn't photobombing. Wing fluff until the very last moment. Right, so even though we aren't going to hear the 747s loudly, standing here using this camera with current visibility, it's definitely not the end of the world. A320, regular A320 from Vueling arriving from Alicante. Up next, flight 1377. And let's see. Saudia is now number 2, the Dreamliner, and the first of the 2 queens is looking to become number 3, if I count correctly. Turning onto the glide slope further to the north. In the meantime, we keep ourselves entertained with these little bite-sized small airplane aperitifs, appetizers. FLUFF, question mark. Star Alliance, okay. One World, special livery, check. Star Alliance, special livery, check. PHBVD, also check. We have all the 3 big alliances special liveries today. Too bad there aren't 4, otherwise we might have had a bingo card full. At least I think bingo always used to be at least 4 in a row, right? Anyway. Think now it's time to focus on the inbound traffic going to center. We also get a little appetizer in that respect. Saudia flight 215 arriving from Jeddah, which I did not click on in first instance. Now we have it. There it is. 7879 Dreamliner, flight 215. Flight time 5 hours and 45 minutes. The airplane is 6 years old. Its first flight was in August 2017. And there you go. You see the difference between the triple and the Dreamliner. The triple, all sorts of wing fluff, and the Saudia is as clean as a whistle. You do nicely see the curvature of the wings. You also see it on the triple, but you definitely see it better because it's more pronounced on the Dreamliner. Right. The first of the 2 queens that we are expecting and end the show with, ladies and gentlemen, is upon us. China Airlines Cargo flight 5685 arriving from Mumbai. It's a Boeing 747-400 with a flight time of 8 hours and 50 minutes. 18 years old. First flight May 2005, so relatively new for a 747-400 actually. And an E2 Embraer photobombing our moment. Well, there wasn't anything that we were focused in on yet, so technically I don't think it would count as a photobomb moment. There it is. I also heard the reversers a little bit. Not sure if you guys can hear it over the wind. Probably not. And zooming back out again with the telescope. Now we are going to be in luck. Before the last airplane of the day, we are going to see a Dreamliner also landing on Polderbaan actually. First, another Transavia 737-800, this one arriving from Seville, flight 6730, 6 years old, first flight January 2017. And then we are going to see KLM flight 760 arriving from San Jose, a mid-size 7879 Dreamliner. And here we can see the vortices once again emanating from the flap tips. Get the impression that it is opening up ever so slightly. The chimneys definitely better visible now than they were before. Got another cameraman with a KLM unit. Quite the gear. Seen this chap every now and then, several times before already, but this I believe is the first time I actually see him wear a KLM vest. Maybe he is making company footage or something. Anyway, KLM flight 760, Boeing 7879 Dreamliner arriving from San Jose, flight time 9 hours 29 minutes. The airplane is 7 years old, its first flight April 2016. They could also reach out to amslive787@gmail.com KLM if they want me to do some in-house filming for them. Hint hint. A portfolio of my work you can find on my channel page. Alright, now, where is the Suparna? The Suparna is coming. Let's have a look. Is that the next airplane? The next airplane... The 737 is already flying over there. Yeah, so the next airplane we are going to see is going to be the last airplane of the day, the Suparna Airlines 747. At the moment, number 6 worldwide, most tracked by 272 people. That tells me that a lot of people are doing other stuff than sitting behind their flight radar today. 272 people are watching the Suparna Airlines 747. It's flight 87413. Arriving from Nanjing. I'm hearing a moped behind me, was looking around me. The 747 we're about to see is arriving from China, from Nanjing. It has been flying for 11 hours and 17 minutes as we speak. And this airplane, 32 years old, first flight August 1991. Same construction year as the A300 Banana that we saw earlier, if I recall correctly. Or was that 1992? No, I believe it was 91 as well. So the Berlin Wall already got torn down. That was in 89, if I recall correctly. What happened in 91? Wasn't that the years that Clinton and Yeltsin took over. Bina says the A300 was 91, so that is the same year then. Indeed, Dirk, first Gulf War was also in 91 with Bush. Oh, that was Bush Senior then, still at the helms. But it was in around that time that Bill Clinton took over, that he took office, right? That was also in the beginning of the 93. Ah, okay. Well, there you go. I'm already an old fart. My memory is failing me. Just goes to show that I am actually 41 already. Here it is, the last airplane of the day. Unfortunately, not on this runway with good audio, but with a combination of optical zoom and digital zoom, we can still see it somewhat decently. A near miss with the KLM tail. Let's add a little bit of zoom to that, why not? Right, well folks, that's a wrap. I am going to wrap it up for now. It's been a day with weather that was a bit disappointing. Others, it was different weather than what I hoped it was going to be. Apologies for misleading you with a thumbnail that was, well, at least in theory, better weather. Hopefully next time it will be better weather again, at least with better visibility on the glide slope than today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I still did enjoy it, despite now really feeling I need to warm up. I hope you guys had as much fun as I had, and I will hopefully see you again on the next one. Thanks everyone for joining me here today. Thank you all for the likes. Thank you all for the memberships, the gifted memberships first and foremost, the people becoming a member themselves as well. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for the super chats and super stickers that were gifted. Thanks to everyone who purchased something from the store. Your support means the world to me, and this channel would not be anything without you guys. It's the community that makes it what it is. I'm just providing a background of airplanes and some chit chat, but you guys make the channel. Thank you all so much for that. Thanks moderators for once again making the chat a friendly and welcoming place. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hopefully tomorrow will be then, but weather permitting, it's always the same. Hope to see you on the next one. Take care, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'm gonna say goodbye for now.